All right, so in the interest of time, I'll just start with quick introductions. So today, very glad to have going to be a fun discussion with Wu-Hsi here to talk about content creation in the new age of generative AI. So I think this is a top of mind in people's minds since last November when ChatGPT first came out, to be very frank. Even though I've been in the tech industry for 16, 17 years, I was quite surprised about that almost the moment when I felt that Turing test for the very first time has passed, right? So very surprised, and today very glad to have a chance to have a chat with Wu-Hsi, a generative AI expert, here to talk about different kind of generative AI. So a quick introduction about myself. I'm Harrison Tang. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SPOKEO. So we are one of the biggest people search identity platform in the United States that serves about 15 million users a month to help them search, connect, and verify, know who they're dealing with. I'm also the co-chair of W3C CCG that incubates standards such as verifiable credentials, decentralized identifiers, and Web3 ID. And today I represent Southern California Mount Jade, 南加州玉山科技协会. I'm the chairman at Southern California Mount Jade, and I'm one of the co-organizers for this event. So very glad to be here. And Wu-Hsi, do you mind quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you, Harrison. So my name is Wu-Hsi. So it's an honor to come to the Taiwan Tech Summit. I'm based in Boston and been traveling back and forth, and very first time joining this big event, and especially talking about generative AI. So I'm the RD lead at the Firework. So our company do short video, shoppable video, and live stream as a SaaS for business. So in short, we try to help our client to win the attention war by serving video. Okay, so I think most of the client agree that, okay, right now when we have a page and then something right there is moving, then the user cannot stop noticing that, this video will just, engage the user better and retain them and help them convert. But then the question always comes to, where do the content come from? So many clients tell us that we would love to be your client, we like to use your product, but we don't have content. What do we do? So that comes to my job, so having the content generation using AI technology, especially creating short form video. However, so speaking of generative AI, so actually my beginning is a very different perspective from video, because I'm a music technologist. Okay, so when I'm still in college, I remember that I started working on signal processing, and then I'm a musician, so I want to solve one very difficult problem, which is we have a ensemble. So we have piano, violin, cello playing the note at the same time, but we only got this recording. Can we separate the sound? And I said that that's not possible, because we already have information loss. So initially you have 3 soundtracks, but the output is 1 soundtrack. So you cannot recover that back to 3 soundtracks unless you can boost lots of information. Okay, so somehow, if you look at what generative AI is all about right now, this is what we are doing. So, and then the other also fun initiative, like when I first think about all this generative AI is, so I'm a musician, so I have a very strong passion in creating music and all that. But then there is a research area called the meta composition. So you create a computer program to create music. Okay, so
like AutoGPT, basically, right?
Yeah. So right now we finally recognize things like that. But at that time, this is like a sidetrack in the computer music area because, who is going to recognize those music? Because you create a program to create music, do you still qualify as the creator of the music? So it seems to be somewhat philosophical. But 20 years ago, we were talking about that. One day, we will have this AI that has the emergent ability, and I realized that wow. So I'm already witnessing something we talked about 20 years ago.
So I think that's start from the beginning. Like, how do you define AI, artificial intelligence, and what is generative AI, and how is today's generative AI differ from 20 years ago or predictive analytics?
Yeah. So I would say that first of all, it's very hard to sit anywhere to talk about just AI or generative AI because this is such a large area, and I feel like that what I'm doing is actually a small corner, and especially in the video and music domain. But then the whole development, we've been seeing the explosions. First by the Stable Diffusion Mid-Journey, it happened last year, and then of course ChatGPT blowing our project pipeline away because our founder basically said that okay, forget about everything we're doing, because right now we need to watch this, and if we don't start thinking about this, then ChatGPT is going to change. It's going to replace our product basically. Okay,
so before you were using other models and you have to change the GPT.
Yeah. So remember, like we actually have exactly the same project that I will show briefly later. That we try to have a content generation tool so that it processes a web page. Okay, and then we specifically train that. Okay, here is the crawler. Here is the summarizer, and then some of the summarizer is going to recognize what is the category for this product and what is the targets and all that. And it's a very hard to build product. But when ChatGPT is announced, and then realize that okay, we just need one large language model, and then everything begins from there. So everything changed from that point.
So that's the big difference between 20 years ago and today? Is just the amount of data? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I mentioned that 20 years ago we would talk about this emergent. So the emergent says that, we sometimes think that, okay, computer is able to repeat some pattern, but that doesn't qualify as intelligence. So that's almost the same thing like when a computer creates music, you still don't call computer a composer because you don't give credit of its creativity. We think that our computer is only, repeating some pattern without insight. Okay, but now when we talk about emergent, it's some after feeding a large volumes of data, after spending a large volume of computation power to train, then there is some high-level intelligence that emerge that we can even give credit that this is novel, this is creative, this is fun. And then, because the people are talking like ChatGPT even can tell a joke or it can recognize a joke. It's so hard to imagine. Like
I think their joke is funnier than mine, actually.
Yeah. So because we can debate, for the next, until the end of the session, like, so what, is ChatGPT a funny bot and all that, but when it comes to the time that we are all talking about this, we know that, okay, so now, they say that it's past the singularity, that, the AI's intelligence in next level. But if you only look at how we train model, the neural network, so many AI researchers think that they're just doing pretty much the same thing, except that right now there's explosive of the amount of data we throw in, as well as the pervasiveness, the accessibility of all the GPU and all that make it all possible. And we think that it really happened faster than I initially expect, because I thought that I'm never going to witness that, music source separation to be realized, because I thought that that's just impossible.
Yeah. So today, I think you have prepare a couple of use cases about how different generative AI models can actually help our workflows and productivities and businesses. So do you mind kind of share a couple? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think, so the very, very first case study I want to show, ChatGPT. Okay, so how we start to integrate ChatGPT in every aspect. And then there's one specific thing I want to talk about is prompt engineering. Okay, so one of the feature that in using a large language model is that in the past, the training goal, like you have a full set of training data. And then at the end of the training, you try to validate that whether the training turned into something you want. Okay. But right now, we call this is the in-context learning. Like the ChatGPT already learned from large volumes of data that it collects from the internet. But then it is still learning as you give prompt. Okay, so exactly the prompt is like you can specify the specific way that you need from this task. No matter if it's, say, Stable Diffusion is creating image, or to here, this is all about creating video content. Okay, so in this case study, we present a content generation tool that we initially convert web page to a short form video. So let's see the workflow. So the workflow feel like that, oh, this is something like a useful tool. So you don't feel the AI just yet. Okay, but now we have a web page. You put the URL to the system. You say that this is a product. Potentially, you can select digital human or TTS. Okay, but now so the GPT already generates some summarization from the product and all that, and you can open a whole project. So the project give some copywriting, something befitting to serve certain target audience and all that. Okay, so the prompt engineering come in this part that, so when we are able to make one video, we don't stop here. We start thinking, how can we make 100 different version video for just 100 different target audience group? For example, you can specify in the prompt that, okay, so here, this target audience, please separate 3 different versions, one for the new customers and the other for loyal customer, and the third group is the somewhat return customer, but seems that they are, forgetting about us. So how do we distinguish the writing? But then I prepare a more intriguing example. So can you go to the next page? Okay, so go to the next page. That so 2 months ago, I brought this video generation engine to a Taiwanese hackathon. Okay, so we basically want to solve a problem that how do we make? Sorry, can we go to the next slide instead? Yeah, go to.
So let's kind of go into a little bit of details about how this works. So basically, the large language models. Well, first of all, you grab the web page content, right? HTML, CSS, those things, and then you use large language models to understand the content, and then you have another model that converts those concepts into video. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have an engine that try to take the writing and try to take the image and add animation into and packing into a video. Okay, but then the AI part usually come in the middle. Like, okay, so first of all, how do we generate an image? How do we find a right video structure? But right here we're focusing on using ChatGPT to do a very context-aware copywriting. Yeah, So
can you explain what that context awareness means?
Yeah. So for example, so if we go to the next slide, so I joined this event, US Taiwan Watch Conference 2 months ago, and then do this special, like now I consider a case study. Okay, so how can we rewrite a news into different forms so that when people of different political view or different political sensitivity, that they can find a way to digest a news that we feel like important. For example, okay, go to the next slide. So here, I found a news from the reporter. So it's in Chinese, but basically it says something about the Hong Kong security law and how that affects some Taiwanese scholar who is doing research related or not related to China, but somehow they get into trouble. Okay, so if we just use a typical summarizer, you can see from the next page. So this is a typical ChatGPT prompt that we said that, okay, we have an internet news. Can you convert the news content to a short form video? And I'm going to use speech for storytelling with an eye-catching title, so very, very general. So what you get is the next page. So from the, next page. So it looked like this. Okay, so can I safely visit Hong Kong? And then Taiwanese political security in Hong Kong and the law and the pressure, and all that. Okay, so now the problem comes, like when I try to send this video to maybe, all the line group my parent will visit, they're like, we don't want to talk politics, this is, sensitive, and there are many people in Taiwan that, we thought that we are in deep danger in terms of the misinformation war and all that, but somehow we cannot find a good way to sort of wrap this news in a friendly way so that the senior generation can also digest this news. Okay, so let's go into the next page. So we rewrite the prompt in a totally different way. We say that, okay, so forget about criticizing China, forget about, politics. Let's appeal to the compassion because Taiwanese is full of love. They love positive news. And then we have this joke of 长辈图 that they usually greet each other with good morning and with something, a lot of flower and say that, hey, let me tell you a story. Okay, so now I rewrite this ChatGPT prompt like this. I say that, okay, let's appeal to compassion, no criticism, and keep it short. Okay, so the result is the next video. Let's take a look. So remember, every single word in this video is without revision. So ChatGPT create this video. Okay, next.
早安，美好的一天，先听个故事好吗？在这个现在，我们关注的是台湾学者在香港所面临的困境。他们是那些长期往来香港，且研究领域与政治无关的学者。不久前，其中一位学者被港警带进小黑屋，并遭到政治询问。这不是个案，事实上，过去2年已有数名台湾学者经历类似的审问。这些学者中，包括一些年轻学者，他们不是民主运动的领袖，却也遭受到相同对待。目前我们无法确定台湾人在香港遭遇政治扣留的频率，以及港警对高风险目标的定义。这些情况给台湾学界带来压力，也影响到学术交流活动。
Yeah, so so the video is creating in the Mandarin Chinese, but basically it's trying to use a very alternative way to say that, okay, this Taiwanese scholar is not even a researcher for the political field, but somehow they're caught in the tension between China and Taiwan. And then we're able to just use a ChatGPT we tell them that we appeal to compassion. And then ChatGPT actually found a way to say that they are not doing political work, and then they are not even, anything of a social activism and all that.
Yeah. No, I think it's very clear that, ChatGPT writes better than my 9-year-old son. So how does this work? Like, how does large language models understand? What does understand means? And what's intelligence and what's reasoning? Like, I know this is a subject to debate, and there's a lot of different thoughts out there, but what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert specifically about the large language model, but then the key is that how do you relate? How do you generalize when you say that, okay, I want to appeal to compassion, but I didn't say that we don't want to talk about politics. Okay, but then ChatGPT found a way to interpret that, okay, so maybe what make it become sensitive is because criticism, or what make it sensitive is that they understand that they are not promoting democracy, but somehow they are treated as somewhere in between. So I don't think this is a good explanation, but so it's about that the large language model quickly pick up this prompt and then are able to adapt and generalize into something that they found data in the past, a large language model. So for us, we are the user. Okay, so if you want to ask me why, I don't know. Okay, but then I'll tell you that, okay, I keep trying, and then right now there's the new job title that the prompt engineer is actually a job. Okay, so you can be really talented to make ChatGPT do what you want them to do. Yeah, and it's becoming an art right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I personally still like to believe that human neurons is more complicated than some kind of some kind of simple linear function, right, in the artificial neuron. So I like to tell myself that because I'm quite surprised by the advance of AI, and I hope there's still some futures in humanity, to be very frank. Now, we've seen the ChatGPT example, but there's a lot more generative AIs and different modalities. So I think you also have another example for the videos, right? So do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so I think that this is coming a step back from going text and video and image. So when I say that at the very beginning, I saw that the sound source separation is a problem never going to be solved. And right now we know that, okay, when we have some missing information, our brain actually does it naturally. Okay, so our vision system actually always have this blind spot. The blind spot is like caught in between your eye, but then your brain tell you that no, there is no blind spot. So the difference is that your brain feel the information for you, so that you hardly feel that your vision system give you any discontinuity in the surround vision. Okay, so right now many people are using the magic eraser from their phone. Okay, so when you are taking a picture and then you feel like, there are too many tourists in this beautiful temple, in this beautiful place, and you can just circle them and erase them. How are we going to do that? Because we tell the computer that, okay, this part is missing. Can you use your sense to recover it? So you basically remove some part from your camera, and then you'll be able to wipe them out and let the AI to fix it for you. Okay, and here, this is an immersive video watching experience that I did in my company. And then we can use it as an example, like, so sometimes the generative AI not necessary is directly touching stable diffusion or large language model. Okay, so go to the next slide. So into the next slide. So this case study is an immersive video experience for mobile using a standard landscape video. Okay, so the key is, so the experience somewhat look like this. Okay, so you can rotate your phone as if this is your VR gear. Okay, but then many of the immersive video experience, you need to specially produce the content in a special way, such as creating a 360 VR scene and all that. But here, this is just a landscape video. So how are we going to do that? So going to the next slide. So we can simulate that, okay, now you're holding a viewport. The viewport can be held in different direction. So when you are rotating your viewport, there will be some part that the viewport is temporarily stretching beyond where you have pixel. So now we ask the system to patch the missing pixel for you, just like that the user are using the magic eraser right now. However, when you are using magic eraser, we call that the inpainting. Inpainting means that you have an information canvas, but somewhere in the middle is missing. But now here we call this, this is an exportation, because what the information is missing is going to the side. Okay, so many people in the VR area will need this kind of thing. So let's see a closer look to the next slide. Next slide, please. So you can play this video. I hope that, I can use my phone to demonstrate this, because this is not the best demonstration. But if you can look at this experience from your phone, you will be amazed by that, how it stretches as if that you are moving closer and farther away from the view. Yeah, so, and then you hardly notice anything from the side that the system restored the bit.
But what if there's a bird, right, on the top left corner? There's a
so
what happens in that case?
If you have experience using the magic eraser, you actually screw up most of the, maybe half of the time, and then you're like, okay, maybe this time you need to redo it a few times, and sometimes the system can create different things, and sometimes it will force you to remove the entire bird, or in that case, probably need some prompt engineering to be specific, like you actually want more bird rather than no bird, things like that.
Got it. So this is a very cool technology. Is this model works just like large language models, or is it completely different? How does it work?
Yeah, so in this context that we don't use a large language model to distinguish the context, how we want the pixel to be restored. Okay, so this is more like a classic, like, so it's also involved a lot of training, because basically the computer is just picking up from the pattern. Okay, so usually when you see this, then the surrounding is what, and then they try to use this general sense to brush it up. The area that you want it to restore. Okay, so it doesn't involve a prompt in this context.
Got it. So I know you also have another example, one last example that combines different modalities together, right? With a digital human. Do you mind going to that a little bit?
Yeah, so digital human is, in a way that right now we are talking the digital human under the generative AI scope, but actually, the VR people, the metaverse research, there are many involvement about how do we create a human from scratch. Okay, so but then because of deepfake, because of, so right now there are more model that is not discussed in the VR scope, but discussed, in the Gen AI scope. So you feel like that the Gen AI is taking away digital human from VR into this role. But then we can also see many different difference in terms of when do we want someone to tell a story for you, for your product, or maybe when do we want a digital human to sell a product for you? Okay, so in this case study, we are looking at the AI virtual assistant in the e-commerce context. So first of all, we'll look at a short video. Next slide, please. So this video is
柔らかな肌触りのトップスをご紹介します。平安時代以降、公家が清掃する際身につけた下着。大片びらをモチーフにデザインしました。生地は終わり地帯一帯で織られる形状年間より続く下木綿手ぬぐい生地を使用し、強型友禅で染色を施しています。手ぬぐいの幅を生かして縫製し、襟に薄い中綿を入れております。
Okay, so in this example, this is a short form video automatically generated from a web page. So is our client, and then we create this demo video that, okay, we have someone talking. Okay, so the first question is, then why do we need this digital human here? Because it feels like kind of weird. So we use an avatar like this to speak Japanese. It's weird to begin with. But then, so in the world of short form video, so how do we provide this embedded video service to win the attention war? Everything is measured by two metrics. One is engagement. How long do we retain the user here? Okay. The second metric is conversion. How many people watch this video and try to place this product in your cart? Okay. So one obvious fact that we know that when the video is played on mute, comparing to when you play this video with the sound on, so the engagement is differed by a huge margin. Okay, so in this context, the clear advantage of having a digital human is it reminds the user that, I want to hear what she is talking about. Okay, so you are seeing someone moving their mouse but not hearing it. Your brain will tell you that, okay, I'm curious now. I want to hear that. Okay, so this digital human in this short form video context is drawing the curiosity because we are used to a talking person should come with the speech. And then the next example, going into the next slide, we take that to a digital store. So when you walk into a store to buy product, you will be greeted by the sales associate. So someone, they ask you, do you have any question? Do you want me to show you what is the latest product and all that? But when you visit an online store, maybe sometimes you have questions, but you cannot find anyone. Okay, so this is an example that we use digital human to create this virtual assistant for you, for any user, anytime. Next slide, please. It's still the same avatar. Okay, so supposedly this is a speech interaction.
Here are the 5 different colors and how they look applied on skin. First up, we have always an SCN. It's perfect for those sultry evenings when you want to make a statement. Next, we're moving on to the next. This shade is all about versatility and confidence. Now,
okay, so the middle part is cut to make this a little shorter, but then
yes, you can layer powder eyeshadows on top of the matte liquid eyeshadow to create unique looks and add dimension.
Does it change like different avatars? Because like, for example, I like Asian women better, right? Does it automatically change that?
Yeah, so obviously we do want to, accommodate any client's wish. Okay, so supposedly we should not only enable the user the client to select different avatar, but also they can let different users to see any avatar they like, because that will ensure the best engagement, right? Okay, so some explanation of this very short video is that this is almost real time. So the user is talking to this digital human almost like a real life conversation. So right now it takes about only 4 seconds from you speak, we process to we render this digital human for you. And then of the 4 seconds, actually more than half of the time is spent by the large language model. So creating this digital human and ensure that it lip sync with the text to speech is only taking about 1 second and not 2 seconds.
So what models are involved here, right? You mentioned large language model, there's a visual model, and there's the lip sync model. Like, what other models are involved?
Yeah, so lip sync model is one of it, and some in this context we try to not do the face resolution. So the resolution is again what we talk about, like how do we use AI to fix missing information? Because lip sync is basically based on we use the machine to generate a lip sync version of this avatar, and then we try to patch that part of video to the original avatar. Okay, so when you simply do that, then you will see something weird on the edge when you patch the video. Okay, so the face resolution make it look like, oh, okay, so I'm convinced. I think that she says all this. And the large language model is involved to process what the user is asking. Okay, so this is a pure conversational experience, meaning that the user is not typing, the user is speaking. And then, so we pick up the text by speech recognition and throw everything to our large language model. And the large language model already get what this product is about. And then it has like a knowledge base, everything a sales associate need to know about this product is already pre-trained. Okay, so at this stage, the large language model responds with something, maybe this is from an existing video bank, maybe this is not from the video bank that we need to live render, and then we go to, when it comes to the live render, we need to go to using the lip sync model, and then we need to face restore, and that's what you see.
And what's the cost involved? Because like, for example, OpenAI API, right? If you want to use the GTP 3.5 or 4 models, I mean, it costs like a couple cents, right, per prompt. And if you're doing a lot of prompts here, that can be quite expensive, especially per view, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is an excellent question because people will ask like, so why do we even need a digital human here? Because it's maybe this avatar is good looking, but then how far does it take you away from a chatbot? Because you can also add chatbot question, right? And then from chatbot to voice agent like Siri, Alexa, Hey Google, I hope I don't trigger any of your phone, and to this digital human, seeing this face, does it justify the cost? Okay, so speaking about the cost, so what we know is, so when we are doing face resolution, we probably need to spend like 12 times more GPU cost than just doing a lip sync. Okay, and right now, say rendering a minute of this with face resolution can cost $2 to $3. Okay, so this is steep. If we say that, okay, every user who log into this system and want to talk to this person is going to burn $2 from a company every minute, then I don't think we can sell this product at all. Okay, unless we find a perfect reason that digital human actually work. Digital human boosts the sales so much. Okay, so then a lot of effort right now. Of course, right now all the unlimited spending of the GPU obviously is making some of the the company's stock price going really, really high. But then at the end of the day, we are thinking like, wait, do we really need a digital human? Because obviously this is a cool demo. Our CEO bring this demo right now and present to our biggest investor, SoftBank, and they love it so much. They probably want us to double down on this. But then we're like, yes, Gen AI is the hottest topic for the investor's point of view. But then, is this what our user need? Is this what our client and user need? Is a different question.
Cool. I think we have about 9 minutes, and we want to leave some time for the audience questions if there are any. But I want to ask a hard question because these models, they're all separate, right? Most of them using supervised learning. But there's always this talk about artificial general intelligence. Do you actually believe in that? Do you think you can create one universal model that actually rule them all, or you think that's a pipe dream?
So I think at the very, very, when I went to MIT, that's 17 years ago, to me, the hardest AI problem is common sense. They said that how do we use AI to create common sense? And then common sense goes a long way. So right now, like even for human, my wife will think that, I don't have common sense in many aspects, so, AI.
Well, common sense is personalized. Next time you should tell her that.
Okay. Yeah. So we talk about like, to what level do we start to give credit that this is intelligent, or this is insight, or this is novelty? And right now, many people still criticize that all the knowledge, all the witty reaction from ChatGPT doesn't qualify as the same way as a human intelligence is. And then I really have no answer for that, because in a way that I don't need to define whether that is intelligent or not, or I don't need to define what is, whether the general intelligence can happen. What I need is that, okay, ChatGPT is already transforming the way we work. It's like our partner. Okay, so we work with this. Either it's a virtual assistant of you, virtual coding assistant, or as a composer, maybe I can work with AI as a partner that we co-create song together. And I think that is beyond like asking like whether this is intelligent or not, or whether AI will eventually make it, because I think that we are already witnessing something really, really special, something I didn't believe that would happen 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I think if you look at the Wikipedia definition of intelligence, it's about practical application of knowledge. And the truth is, for the longest time, the definition of intelligence is about the Turing test, right? Which is a blind test. Whether if you kind of like a Pepsi and Coke, you do a blind test. If you cannot tell the difference between the AI-generated response and the human response, then that's the intelligence. And I personally think that definition needs to change, because ChatGPT has passed the Turing test, and the truth is, I still felt that we are probably, us human intelligence, more than that, because obviously, we have logic, we have reasoning that a lot of these large language models don't have. So maybe it's just me hoping that there's some hope in humanity. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I personally think that the definition of intelligence probably have to change at up level. All right. Any questions from the audience? No? If so, I'm going to ask Wu-Hsi even more questions. So we talk about content generations and things like that, right? So one question that a lot of people have is about fake news, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. And by the way, the definition of misinformation is incorrect information, right? Regardless of intent. Malinformation is correct information with malintent, and disinformation is both incorrect and malintent. So my question is, how do we actually tell misinformation and disinformation, fake news in the new age of generative AI when content creation with generative AI becomes so easy?
Yeah, so in a way that right now we have a lot of need at school to examine that whether students' paper or thesis is purely written by ChatGPT. So then there is the counter GPT tool to tell you that, okay, I think it's I forgot what is the service. There are multiple services to help you determine whether a writing is generated by ChatGPT. And as far as I know, Google, if you're a marketer, you will know this kind of thing, that if you use too much ChatGPT's help to create some of your writing, so Google actually detect that and will lower the exposure for this information piece. So I think that also go to the other part, like not just the misinformation, because now we can create a digital human. Then there will be people trying to create, use it in a scam. Like, there's the old school scam, like someone pretending your kids are in trouble, your parents in trouble, and then right now they can easily render someone just almost look like your kids or your parents. And what do? And how do you distinguish that? Oh, okay, this is just a scam. This is not real. I know that, Harrison's expert is more on the security side. I think this is going back to you, that, how do we avoid a misuse of information of this kind, so that we don't have more and more scam that, make people fall into the trap because of using digital human.
Yeah, like one easy thing I do, like for example, I have a Taiwanese American team member, and for the longest time, like his English always lack commas and like has grammar errors, and all of a sudden it's all perfect. I was like, man, something's happening right here. So that's an easy litmus test right there. But I think the question of truth is actually quite interesting, because what is true, right? True represents reality, and what is reality? And the truth is, I think reality is high dimensional. And to test high dimensionality, you need criteria, because we do not have a full picture of all the features and dimensionality in the world. Like a good example, that's a very physics question, answer to this question. But a good example is we humans can only experience X, Y, Z, and half of time dimension. And the truth is, the reality is a lot more than that, right? Because, for example, weight is a dimension. Financial score, like your credit score, is a dimension, right? So that is something we cannot experience. So to tell truth, I think there needs to be multiple criteria. And you have to have consistency, like blockchain, for example, right? More than 50% majority rule is true. If you think about it, when you transact something, how in the world does this node running in like Iceland know that's true or not? It doesn't. It doesn't. It's the fact that 50% of the node says it's true, then it becomes true. So that's consistency, it's authority, it's correspondence. Does it correspond to the real world? Like in identity, there's a question called authentication, which is the linkage between digital world and the physical world. That's correspondence and coherence. There's a lot of criteria, and the truth is, it's a very, very complicated problem. You had to think really hard about that.
Yeah, so it came to me that, last week, our marketing department called a meeting with us and said that he tried to show me the prompt on ChatGPT, said that, can you create a marketing report that doesn't look like ChatGPT? So you write it in the prompt to tell ChatGPT to write not like ChatGPT, and I don't really know what this is, you know.
But I think now we only have a minute. I just want to conclude. I do think that, you know, there's going to be a wealth of information out there, and our society, due to the revolution of recommendation engine in the past decade, which by the way is a kind of information filtering system, has made our society a lot more polarized, a lot more segmented. In marketing, there is a model that a lot of people like called STP, segment target positioning. But maybe, just maybe, we do it too well that creates this dichotomy in our society. And I think one of the things I do want to leave everyone with is perhaps we should all be open-minded about different informations out there so that we do not let technology, right, harnesses us, but rather us harnessing technology. Do you have any conclusions?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect conclusion. Yeah. So it's a pleasure that today Harrison and I go through many aspects of generative AI. You know, so thank you.
Thanks a lot.